Hello, everyone. Please keep supporting Gene Valentino's Truth Podcast. We need our voice to get out there far and wide and help save our country.
Hi, friends. Gene Valentino from the Grassroots Truthcast. Mike Lindell's been with us on our shows for nearly 3 years now. Go to mypillow.com, promo code GeneV, or you can call it in. It's 1-800-589-4706. Mike's was a one-problem solution company with one product, the pillow. Today, it's hundreds of items in his website, mypillow.com. Now he's gotten to a point where the word's gotten out, and they're having a $25 extravaganza. You can get a 2-pack multi-use pillow set for just $25. You got the My Pillow sandals for just $25. You also have their 6-pack bathroom towels for just $25 a set, and the brand new 4-pack dish towels, just $25. So they have an extravaganza underway right now with many super prices. Good time to start surfing mypillow.com and look through their entire store line of items for holiday gift giving this fall and winter. Thanks for joining us on Grassroots Truthcast, and thank you, Mike Lindell and the MyPillow family, for being our sponsor on Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys and gals everywhere, even on Walton Mountain, they're around the radio for Gene Valentino and Michael Paul.
Hey, good morning, Gene. The studio crowd excited this morning to see you again on Zoom with us. Thank you so much for taking time on your Friday to join us. Well, we've got a Democrat convention that has ended last night. Kamala, I'm not sure exactly. I hear it said different ways. But anyway, Kamala, we'll call her, Harris, did her speech last night. And wow, she sounded like she was maybe a Republican.
Well, what a difference a day makes, huh? Oh, my words. Don't blink, you'll miss a chapter, as they say in politics. I think the secret, Michael and Ted, is that we're going to have to distinguish. Robespierre said it perfectly. The secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is to keep them ignorant. We have everything to gain, if you're a politician in the Democrat camp, keeping the folks ignorant. Whereas today, you see Trump out on another rally in Arizona with, by the way, we can come to in a minute, maybe a surprise visitor, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joining him. But yeah, the real issue is going to be is this Democrat Party going to be transparent, or are they being transparent for convenience? There's a difference. I see such a deluge of dysfunction. Or is it truly a deception through distraction? What are we listening to right now? What are we watching on the Democratic convention the last few days? We have heard so much rhetoric, but every sentence that they speak, I say to myself, well, how are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? With what resources are you going to do it? I see still no solution. If there's anything, I hope the American voter is sophisticated, and it doesn't have to be sophisticated, just using common sense to see one of the two candidates has performed and shown success. The other candidate has run from performance, hidden from a record of dysfunction, and tries to distract the narrative through a lot of this feel-good stuff that ends up having no basis in fact. I got another little saying for you here. It's from Milton Friedman. He says, one of the great mistakes is to judge policies and programs by their intentions rather than their results. We heard a lot from Kamala Harris last night about her intentions with a lot of grandiose programs. but never have we seen any results that from any of their programs. She had one, Michael. She had one thing to deal with, and that was the border. And not only did she drop the ball, but then she tried to orchestrate a distraction of your attention away from what she was supposed to be doing, either through the mandate of the President Biden asking her to handle that border, or by just ignoring the issue altogether and making it a non-issue. Hey, the Democrats stuck this border issue on me. I'm not even going to deal with it. And now she's trying to come out and show some sense of as if the Biden administration she was a part of for the last 3.5 years doesn't matter. We're going to jump the narrative straight into accusations of Donald Trump and ignore whatever I was part of for the last 3 years. I'm looking to the American people now and seeing how mature and sound their judgment is going to be based on performance. I come out of the corporate world, Michael. You do too. In the corporate world, when I was CEO of a few companies and running an operation, I didn't have the privilege to hire you or fire you based on your personality, based on whether you liked Trump or Biden. I had to hire you or fire you based on your performance. Performance was my only measure. And I'm going to see if the American people are going to base their decision in the voting booth on November 4th or 5th based on performance of the past 8 years. Compare 4 years with Trump to the 3.75 years we're going to see under the Biden-Harris administration. Sorry, Kamala, you don't get a pass. You don't get to now distance yourself from Biden and send him off into the sunset with a less than perfect record that you claim no alliance to. I'm sorry, you don't get to wash your hands of the Biden administration. You were part of it, my dear, and you will suffer the consequences, as he will, for the performance of that administration.
Agreed. And look, there are some things that she has proposed that are totally unworkable. I mean, ideas from the old Soviet Union. And you take, for example, and this is not necessarily something from the old Soviet Union, but this is something that is what I call a country killer. 25% tax on unrealized gains. Now, to put it simply, for people who are maybe not playing in the stock market, who maybe don't have investments on property or things like that, just your home, if you have every year have to pay a 25% tax on the unrealized gains, in other words, the difference between what your house was, what you paid for it, and what it's worth today, 25% you got to come up with, and you may not have the money. What happens to people? This is a country killer. I mean, how could anybody propose something like this?
That's true, Michael. I mean, Republicans are going to emphasize free market capitalism because that's been imbued in their history over decades. They do insist on lower taxes and reduced government spending. You didn't hear that kind of talk being addressed these last 4 days in the convention. They argue that a free market economy leads to greater prosperity. And this is Republicans now. They argue that there's a free market economy leads to a greater prosperity and that individuals should have the freedom to make economic choices without excessive government interference. Not so with the Democrats. They support this progressive taxation where higher earners pay higher shares of taxes and increase government and all of the increased government spending on these social programs like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Sure, we need healthcare. Sure, we need education. And sure, we need infrastructure. But it doesn't have to be government controlled. What government's role should be is to create a competitive environment in bid processes, not to control these areas of operation, but to allow the competitive forces in the economy to compete against each other to drive efficiency, lower prices, and better value to the end user. Government seems to think that to ensure the fairer distribution of wealth, we pass this on to everybody, but then everybody is disappointed because government's involvement in it is lackluster. The mediocrity of quality of service, this notion that the poor and the rich should all be neutralized and everyone should be the same, this DEI equity balance out amongst them. Why work hard, Michael? Government's going to give it to me.
Well, hey, look, so that's class warfare, right? This is an old tool that the Democrats have been using for years. They want to pit you against, and I looked up the tax foundation. I looked up to see the other day because I heard some rumblings on a Facebook page about, how they're gonna tax the rich. Do you realize that the top like 5% of the country pays like almost half of the taxes? I mean, it's like unbelievable. The progressives want to continue to punish you for doing well, and then they want to pit you. People who've done well, they want to pit you against people who haven't done well. And a lot of people that haven't done well, it's not because they're not smart. It's not because they're not capable of doing it. It's because they never took the gamble. They never took the chance to go out here in their life and, put everything on the line and say, I'm going to go for this and I'm going to make this happen. I mean, it takes a special person to be able to leave the comfort of let's say for me, it was a government job. To leave the comfort of a government job and to make a gamble and to try to do something. And if you win big. If you lose, you also lose big. And that happens too. And there are many people who lose. I mean, I listen to Dave Ramsey, who is on our station every day at 5 o'clock. Yeah. And Dave Ramsey was a millionaire by the time he was like 27, 28 years old, and he lost it all. And then he came back and did it again. And he made, but that's the difference. A lot of people just don't want to take the chance. They like the comfort of knowing that they're going to be, the same every week. The paycheck's going to be there. I don't have to worry about it. But there's some people who that's just not enough. They want more. And they go out and they do what it takes to make it. And so there's no reason to, in my opinion, there's no reason to try to pit people against each other just because somebody decided not to do that. They may have regrets later in their life that they didn't try something, but I'm not going to have any regrets because I've tried everything, and I'm going to continue to try stuff as long as I'm capable. And I know you do the same thing.
That's right. I mean, the beauty of this democracy and this economy in this nation, this constitutional republic gives us the chance to truly dip our toes in the waters that we are not comfortable with or familiar with. We have a pure right to succeed. We have a pure right to fail. And if you're not willing to take that chance, you don't deserve to stand apart. But it's not government's role then to protect you for your inability to perform.
Equal outcome. That's what they want. They want equal outcome. What does that do? That stops everybody from being able to achieve anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what the contradiction is? Those billionaires that are funding these campaigns have opened the door to me on something. See, the very people, the politicians on the Democrat side want to tax more, are the same people that are funding this deep state Act Blue funding, which is probably a topic for a different day. I had the privilege of meeting a Scott Walter at the local CNP conference in Nashville a month or two ago. He wrote a book entitled Arabella, the dark money network of leftist billionaires that are secretly transforming America. They are putting the billions of dollars into Democrat candidates, the social Marxist left, that are tying to this philosophy you and I are talking about, in effect, the couch potatoes with no motivation. They want more of those people so that they can rule more autonomously without objection. They're funding politicians to come in and take successful people down. The very politicians that are promoting funding sources through this Act Blue Act, it goes back to the 1910, 1920s.
Time. I don't know if we have time because we're almost out of time. We got just a few seconds left here.
Okay, I'll bring it up next time.
Yeah, next time we can talk about it. So it's time for us to go because we got a Fox News break coming up. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Gene. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Best to you, Michael. Take care, everybody. Hi, friends. Gene Valentino from the Grassroots Truthcast. You've got to join us not only for the great shows and entertainment and guests, but you got to join us because our sponsorship is growing. And it would mean a lot to them, not to mention me, if you come on board. And the one we're featuring this week is Luis Sanchez from the Cigar Shop. He owns a company called La Tradicion Cubana. The Cigar Shop, Miami, Florida, since 1995. This Luis is really one heck of a guy. He's determined to manufacture cigars based on an unprecedented excellence in quality using old-fashioned Cuban methods. The cigar isn't always cheaper, but it is better. And if, like you're drinking a fine wine, you got to have a fine cigar, look for Luis Sanchez at the Cigar Shop. He helped me find a nice Connecticut wrapper with a Nicaraguan blend. And this cigar has become not only my enjoyment, but this cigar has also become my brand and my marketing tool. If you notice up close, we've got a little label he's put on there for me. And that's my website, genevalentino.com. It's at the Grassroots Truthcast. Now, here's the deal. You go to thecubanshop.com, find the cigar you want, and Luis will throw in the labels for free. But you got to tell him Gene sent you. Tell Luis Gene sent you. The labels are free. These are $50 to $100 values based on the count. And you can get this to become part of your branding experiment. I'm using this with my guests on the Grassroots Truthcasts. This could be your brand on your product, your service, anywhere in the world. Look for Luis Sanchez at thecubanshop.com. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your smoke.